Hey everyone, it's Jananie and welcome back to my channel, This Story Ain't Over. So today I'm coming to you obviously with my April TBR, and let me tell you, this one's gonna be chaotic because I barely did any reading in March. I feel like I wanted to do a lot more than I actually did. I did do a bit of reading like during a few vlogs, which I put up for you guys. Like I read Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi, and I also read Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, all in March. And so I was able to like vlog those, and I feel like that motivated me to actually read, but during the week, during March, it was just so hard to actually read, so I only got through a few books. But when I'm filming this, it's actually a few days before the end of March, so I'm hoping to finish a couple more books before the end of March and then launch into a few new books in April. So this TBR is going to be a little bit chaotic because I'm going to tell you the books I'm currently in the middle of and then the books I want to reread in April, because I feel like this is going to be a rereading month for several reasons, and then a few books that I just want to pick up new. So for the two books that I'm currently reading, they are The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna and Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I mentioned this in my March TBR, so you know, this is just like a carryover. I didn't get much farther after reading this in my vlog, the Yoke vlog, so yeah, I'm hoping to get to more of it in these last few days of March, and hopefully I'll finish it. It does feel like it'll be a quick read though, because I felt like I zoomed through those first 50 pages really quickly, so I'm excited to continue with this one, and I'm just so interested to find out like what's gonna happen, because for those of you who watch my Yoke vlog, you know that it was like slightly darker than I was expecting, which I loved, so I'm excited. And then Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This I got in the mail earlier in March. I actually pre-ordered it and I completely forgot that it was like coming out, and so it appeared on my doorstep and I was like, this is just like a blast of serotonin in my veins. So I started reading it and I'm about, I think, almost halfway, basically halfway through, and I cannot wait to continue reading this because it's just so cute, and I just love Talia Hibbert's writing. Like, it's just so fun and joyful, and the characters have their own things that they're going through, but it's just so cute and funny, like the little interactions that they have, so very excited about that. I have not yet reached like the steamy bits yet, so I'm excited for that, and I just really want to put this on a TBR so that I can, you know, congratulate myself once I finish this. Alright, and then for April I wanted to reread a couple books, and there are a few reasons why. So the first one is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So there are a couple reasons why I want to reread this. One reason is because the Netflix adaptation is coming out on April 23rd, and I've already taken the day off to watch the entire series that day. So I knew I wanted to kind of reread this first book in the series, because I believe the show, or at least the first season, is going to cover most of what happens in Shadow and Bone, like the first book, and then the subsequent seasons will cover the later books, and we're also getting extra content of the Crows from Six of Crows, you know, stuff that happened before the books started. So yeah, I didn't really see a point in rereading Six of Crows because everything that we're gonna get is like pre-Six of Crows, but I did want to reread Shadow and Bone because I have reread this before and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite like trilogies ever, my favorite fantasy series ever, and I have reread this once before, and I did annotate this set of my copies. I do have the original covers as well, I just don't have them with me right now. So I'm just really curious to like kind of go back to this, reread it, you know, see what I thought from the second time around, like when I did the annotating, and like if I have different, you know, thoughts about it. And I remember when I reread this, I actually just really loved rereading it. Like, it's one of those books that I find I get a lot out of every time I come back to it. So I'm excited to just dive back into the Grishaverse, and I'm excited to see how the show is going to be different from the book. And I know they made like quite a few changes, including making Alina biracial, and, you know, adding in the Six of Crows characters and just adding more dimension to each of the characters, I think, because, you know, Shadow and Bone is told in first person, and the show has to be a lot more than that. It has to show you parts of the story that you didn't really get in the books, so I'm super excited for that, and I cannot wait. So yeah, I'm rereading this for that, and then I'm also rereading it because for this month's bullet journal theme, I decided to do Shadow and Bone to celebrate the Netflix adaptation, and so I thought it would be very kind of appropriate if I reread the first book. If you want to go check out that video, I will leave the link down below or somewhere on the screen. It's one of my favorite bullet journal setups. It's very minimal, very simplistic, but it brings in like the colors of this cover and also the antlers from the original cover, so I'm just super excited. Alright, and then the other book that I want to reread this month is Anna K by Jenny Lee. I absolutely love this book. It is one of my like all-time favorites. I read it last year when it came out, and it was just such a wonderful book to pick up. Like, I just loved everything about it. I don't know why. I think it was really the writing style that just vibed with me, and I just picked it up and just fell into the story. So I was so excited when I found out that Anna K was getting a sequel called Anna K Away. I will put the picture up here for you guys, but it is coming out April 27th, and so I knew I had to reread this in order to prepare for Anna K Away. I don't know if I'll actually get to Anna K Away before the end of April, but I'm hoping I will, so we'll kind of tentatively put that on my TBR for this month, but I know I definitely want to try and reread this. It is a bit of a long book because there is like a lot of words on each of the pages. I don't know if you can see this, but they're not like spaced out a lot. So yeah, it's quite a long book, even though it seems sort of thin, but it was just a really well-written book, and I felt like I just fell into the story, and I remember just devouring it actually over a couple of days. And I had also read it when quarantine had first initially started in like March of last year. So I just remember it kind of fondly as like something that just helped me escape at that time. So yeah, I'm excited to go back and see if I think of it a little bit differently the second go around. But yeah, I just remember just wanting to know more and just being so excited by the characters. But it's a very like Gossip Girl type story, but with some more diverse characters. And it's also a bit of a retelling of Anna Karenina, if you did not know. So yeah, it's just a very layered book. Highly recommend. It is definitely not the type of book that everyone will love, I think, but if you have a similar reading taste to me, you may really enjoy it. So yeah, super excited to pick this up again and read Anna K Away. All right, now I'm getting into the new books that I want to pick up for April. So I don't know how many of these I will actually get to, but I'm just going to put them on the TBR and pray for the best. So the first book that I want to pick up is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I recently picked this up from the bookstore when I went book shopping for like the first time in like 6 months, and it was fantastic just getting to browse. And I had heard a little bit about this on Instagram from Alexandria. You should definitely go check out her Instagram and also her book too, because she has great recommendations. But this is basically a little bit of a romance set in Seattle, and it follows our two main characters, Shay and Dominic. So Shay has been a producer at this radio station in Seattle for quite a while, and then Dominic is this guy who's like coming out of his master's program and, you know, new to the industry, and he's just kind of waltzing in quite arrogant about himself. And so the two of them don't really like each other from the outset. But when Shay comes up with this new segment for the radio station called The X Talk, where two exes come on air and deliver relationship advice to like the listeners, their boss ends up deciding to put Shay and Dominic on air as the exes and like telling them to fake it because they already hate each other, so it'll just make it perfect. And so they end up in the situation delivering relationship advice, not actually having been in a relationship, and sparks start to fly. I just love this entire concept, so I really want to pick this up. And I'm finding that for every fantasy book now that I want to read, I need to pick up something light and fluffy like a romance like this, so I'm excited to pick this up. All right, this next book that I want to pick up I got as an ARC recently from Raincoast Books, so thank you so much to them, and that is Tokyo Ever After by Amiko Jean, and I'm so excited about this when I like found out the concept of it. Basically, it follows our main character Izumi Tanaka, who's this like young Japanese American teen in California, and you know, dealing with that aspect of her identity, and it's always been her and her mom against the world because her mother is a single mother. But when Izumi sort of stumbles upon this like clue to her father's identity, she finds out that he was part of the royalty in Japan, and so her father was the crown prince and she is technically a princess. And so Izumi kind of gets whisked off to Japan to kind of reconnect with her father's side of things, and she ends up getting like whisked into this life of a royal, of like a princess, and she has to like deal with her father's side of the family, but also like the paparazzi and just, you know, all of these customs and like years of tradition that she has no knowledge of. And I just love this entire idea. Like, this is the whole Princess Diaries thing, but with a POC main lead, which is all I ever need to pick something up. So I'm so excited for this. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I also love this cover as well, because as you can see, like the illustration here is like a bit of a 3D thing that they've kind of taken an image of, and it's so cool. And I just cannot wait. I love royal stories, even though I don't read a lot of them. I feel like I'm very picky about them. But Princess Diaries is one of my favorite things growing up, so I'm so excited for this. All right, and then the final book that I want to pick up this month is on a totally different note, and that is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I absolutely love The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I actually haven't read Never Let Me Go yet, but I do have a copy of it and I plan to pick it up soon. But the second I heard about the concept of Clara and the Sun, I was just so excited and I knew I had to pick it up. So I also got this on my bookstore trip. I went a little bit crazy that day, but anyways, basically this follows our main character, Clara, who's something called an artificial friend, and you know, she's basically like this android or artificial human waiting in the store for someone to kind of buy her and pick her up and take her away. So what's really interesting about this is that I believe she is the narrator of the book. And so I'm just so interested by that kind of concept. And I know Kazuo Ishigero's writing is just so like lyrical and also just like so contemplative, and I love that. So I'm super excited to pick this up, and I think it's going to be fantastic. If anyone has read it though, I would love to hear your thoughts, and how do you feel like it compares to some of his other work. Alright, but those are all the books that I want to pick up this month. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys are planning to read in April, and if you're planning to read any of the books that I'm reading, and let me know what you thought of any of these books, because I'm always curious to hear your thoughts. So yeah, leave them down below. And if you want to hear more bookish and reading updates and more life updates, go check out my Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads in the description down below. I will see you in my next video, and I wish you some happy reading for April. And please remember that this story ain't over. Bye!